I missed something big because you were addressing me when I came back. No, I cut out when you were saying something, and then I came back in.
Oh, you missed the fact I declared that you're probably about 2,000 years old. Did you hear that part?
No, I didn't hear that.
He missed the most important statement I've ever said. I said, I'm beginning to find, you heard me talking about Ray Wilson.
Well,
Ray probably.
Yes.
The most important, I just said that you are 2,000 years old. Roxy's a couple million years old. None of us tell each other that we're ancient. It's all a big secret. And as soon as I start trying to get into these kind of topics with Ray, he immediately surprises me. Shut up, Bob. You're wacky. You're nuts, Bob. And Ray pretends he's this little man. I'm on to you guys now. Oh, you Zappa fans are listening. I made the biggest discovery of my life right now here on November 22nd, the golden day, a wonderful day. Yes. It's what a wonderful day. It must be my birthday. This must be my birthday. It must be Christmas. So look at this. In this Wilson family, this not quite typical group includes Buddy the dad, Chrissy the mom, Andrew the 7-year-old boy, Carolyn the 9-year-old girl, spelled like Carolyn, L-Y-N, and Uncle Willie, the ancient and irascible permanent house guest. That means he's 1,000 years old. And then there's the dummy, Uncle Willie's strange little potato-headed whatchamacallit. The potato-headed refers to Bobby. Potato-headed Bobby is from the 1971 album. Down in San Bernardino. And you know when Carol was first described, one of her other selves, Ian said she's a hairdresser in San Bernardino. I said, holy shit. I always thought that song about Bobby and whoever the girl's name in that song was about me and Carolyn. Because they have a little cheap little ring. He gave her a nothing ring. That's what I gave Carol. I had a nothing ring. You know, she had to buy it in a Christie's or a Kmart, you know, for $10 for the ceremony. And so this description of Carolyn and me in San Bernardino turns out to be this actual fact of the other Carolyn being in San Bernardino, a hairdresser, and then you have this Carolyn here, spelled the same way. You see how it intertwines? It's sort of like gets so close, but it's never exactly it. But it's so asymptotically closer. Exactly. It turns out I'm reading another biography of myself, another fucking story about me. Can't anybody make something up that's not about me so I can get out of myself? It's all about your chart and you, Bob. All right. So Buddy and Chrissy attempt to accommodate the children's food. See all this food stuff. To accommodate the children's food requests. Quote, the kid says, I don't want any of that. No gravy on mine. I don't like peas, et cetera, et cetera. Uncle Willie is making, now Uncle Willie may be Beefheart's uncle. Remember Beefheart in his home when he was a teenager, his uncle would flash anybody. You know, what do you call them, flashers? And they called his dick a beefheart, or he called somebody a beefheart, or he called it his beefheart, and that's where Don got the name. That's one of the stories. So Uncle Willie may be the guy in the name of Beefheart's uncle. Uncle Willie is making things difficult. He's drunk. He's wearing some sort of a medieval nun's costume and shoes that open up in the front. He insists on smoking one of his hideous cigars at the table, exhaling directly into the mashed potatoes. After that, he tries to tickle the kids. They hate it. They're too old for that kind of stuff. Failing to gain a sufficient amount of attention, he rises from the table, this is Uncle Willie, takes another drink from his holiday bottle, dances across the room with the dummy, and crashes into the Christmas tree and dies from a heart attack. Uncle Willie's funeral is small. Uncle Willie's funeral is small, private, sincere, and tearful. We are there only long enough to hear the preacher repeat, quote, and dwell in the house of the Lord forever. That was the quote that Reagan liked. Now, here's where it gets good. We ripple dissolve. So ripple dissolve means this is a movie, right? Not just a musical. We ripple dissolve to what? The beginning of the universe. In what would have been at that time the house of the Lord. Uncle Willie is seen relaxing on a grotesquely tufted maroon sofa, purple sofa. Maroon's like purple, right? Is maroon purple?
It's like reddish purple. Yeah, you could.
Right. There's a picture of Frank's living room in Life magazine in 1971. They did pictures of rock stars with their parents. And there's Frank with his mother and father, and they're sitting, I'm pretty sure, on a maroon sofa because the whole room is purple. I think it is purple. You know, most of it's purple. So Frank is now describing his own home as the house of the beginning of the universe. And Uncle Willie is there. He's relaxing on a grotesquely tufted maroon sofa, smoking a cigar. On his knee is the dummy, now with a face just like his. So the dummy looks like Uncle Willie, dressed in a flowing white miniature robette, small robette in quotes. And here's what Uncle Willie says. Now, this is going to get real good, guys. It's going to get scary. Uncle Willie says, look at I think Roxy's scared. He keeps come from the phone. He cackles over the speakerphone. He's afraid of what's going to come flying through the phone.
I love this.
Are you exhausted? You've been up for hours? You're lying back?
Well, I haven't slept this week. I was just laying down, trying to sleep, but my brain was not stopping. So
what was not stopping? Your ring?
My brain.
Oh, your brain. Bert. Roxy could not sleep all week. She was so excited with all these ideas of Iundu.
Oh, it's clear. What she did last week is clear. She was on a roll.
Yes. She was excited of her own performance.
3 or 4.
She was so profound last.
Could not stop.
Are you still going through that now? Are you incapable of sleeping now?
Yes, I'm in a weird state of being awake, but not really awake.
Well, it probably makes you more hypnotizable. We can influence yourself deeper with your suggestive subliminal defenses down. So Uncle Willie says, now, okay, look where we've been. We've been in New Jersey. We've been back in the 1770s. Then we were in 1984. Now we're at the beginning of the universe. Uncle Willie says, once upon a time, way back when the universe consisted of nothing more elaborate than a fat maroon sofa, suspended in the midst of God's basic black darkness. And in this situation, a light shined down, I think that should be Sean, or maybe Sean, I don't know, a light shined down from heaven, and the voice of the Lord rang out. The dummy, Uncle Willie's inept ventriloquism, so Uncle Willie projects his voice into the dummy, and remember the dummy looks like Uncle Willie now, so you've got Uncle Willie being the voice of the Lord, which is what Ian says. You created this. Now, if you listen, am I not mistaken that in the Genesis or Genesis recordings, Ion talks about the first chapters and there's a double of you? Do you remember the double of yourself? You remember Ion talking about that? You probably don't. In the beginning, there was like 2 atoms, and they're variations on each other, involving parallel worlds and Ion theology. And it just struck me that you've got Uncle Willie, and then he's got another Uncle Willie disguised as a dummy. So there's 2 Uncle Willies. So one of them projects into the other, give unto me a bit of flooring under this fat floating sofa. So you got this floating sofa, and the first act of creation is to make flooring, F-L-O-O-R-I-N-G. So it cuts to a wide shot of the universe, and boards of oak appear beneath the very large sofa. Uncle Willie putting his cigar in the dummy's mouth. And boards of oak appeared throughout the emptiness, as far as vision used to permit. Look at that. As far as vision used to permit. And the Lord put aside his huge cigar and said, and the dummy goes, Devan, do you know who I am? Uncle Willie goes, and before anybody knew what was happening, a light shined down from heaven. Comets and all speeding debris, dark gases, think of the chart and xenon, and deep frozen negative expanses trembling at the coming of the Lord. The dummy yells, Devan, or Divan, meaning coach, I guess. Devan, I am near. Do you know who I am? I am here. And he starts singing, I am the sky. I am the water. I am the dirt beneath your rollers. I am your secret smut and lost metal money down your cracks. I am your cracks and crannies. So he's addressing the sofa. I am the sky. I am the water. I am the dirt beneath your rollers. I am your secret smut and lost metal money down your cracks. You know, you get money lost down the cracks of the sofa. I am your cracks and crannies. I am the clouds. I am embroidered. I am the author of all tucks and damask piping. I am the chrome dinette. I am eggs of all persuasions. I am all days and nights. I am here, and you are my sofa. They cut to a two-shot. Uncle Willie and the dummy. As an intense beam of light shines down on Willie's head, Uncle Willie says, a light shines down from heaven, a dense ecumenical patina. What's an ecumenical patina? A dense ecumenical patina at the right hand of God's big sofa, and his voice pronounces out in sheets of fire and sheets of rubber. And the dummy does the announcement. Bring unto me the short girl, and squat, the magical pig, and that big light I use. Uncle Willie says, a light shines down from heaven, cymbals, platinum cornets, and wrenches, sheets of fire, sheets of rubber, pyramids, leeches and transoms, splendidly resonant, but also the voice of the Lord. The dummy goes, I am weary and must be entertained. Uncle Willie says, a light shines down from heaven, teeny, weensy chrome dinettes whiz around over by God's big sofa. The dummy says, cancel those leeches and transoms, cancel those wrenches in resonant splendor, cancel all kitchen furniture, bring unto me the short girl, and squat the magical pig. I am weary and must be entertained. Uncle Willie, and the Lord got that old short girl to sing unto him, and likewise unto her magical pig in a pure, soft voice. The short girl sort of singing goes, fuck me, you ugly son of a bitch, stick out your hot curly weenie, make it go in and out real fast till it squirts, but don't you get no jizz on the sofa. Cut to extreme close of a magical pig squat. And the pig says, I hear and obey, short girl. And they cut to a two-shot, squat and the short girl, cavorting licentiously at the far end of the huge sofa. Oh, yeah, it's a big sofa. Short girl, fuck me, swine, till dark gases come screaming out of my favorite onion. Sparkies shoot out, and nebulas are revealed. Uncle Willie, off screen. Sheets of fire, sheets of fried water. Ionic. Sheets of fried water. Sheets of drywall and roofing. Sheets of large, deep-fried rumba. Remember, Finnegan's Wake, Joyce says in Finnegan's Wake, it's basically a rumba. Joyce describes Finnegan's Wake as a rumba. So here it is, sheets of large, deep-fried rumba. What's deep-fried? That's synesthesia. We're getting synesthesia here, deep-fried dancing. Next thing you know, here it comes again, that big old light shining down from heaven. A dense ecumenical. Before it was what? Ecumenical? A patina. Ecumenical patina? Mm-hmm. Ecumenical. Yeah, a dense ecumenical patina. Now it is a dense ecumenical bandana at the right hand of God's big rumba. So a dance is God. God's big rumba. A dance. You see the mixed media, the synesthesia? And his voice pronounces out in sheets of plywood and bales of old sport shirts. Cut to medium close of a squat. Old squat rolls over on his back, slobbering discreetly, while the short girl looks around for something to gargle with. So I guess she just blew squat, right? And she has to clean out her mouth. The dummy off screen says, gave up on, sort of yells at the short girl. Gave up on the pig, I see. Many say they can be unruly. Cancel that big light I use. Cut to a close-up of Uncle Willie directly into the camera. Uncle Willie says, darkness fell suddenly in all forests as canceled leeches and transoms swarmed ashore, devouring bushes while they slept. Farmers walked off and got lost because there was no stars, not even the moon. Then from a distant cave, now look at this, then from a distant cave, the measured tread of cloven hoof on darkened gravel. Old Zircon in capital letters, the phased-out Byzantine devil. There's your pergamon, Roxy. Old Zircon, the phased-out Byzantine devil, dressed in a costume of that period, except for his feet. Now, Zappa used to use the word zircon tweezers all the time. Zircon-encrusted tweezers, and maybe something else. Cut to medium shot, exterior of old Zircon's cave. So there's Frank talking about his basement studio. set in a dark, barren landscape of infinite gravel. Old Zircon says, looks like the leeches have ate up every bush. Bet this place will look funny when the lights go back on. Old Zircon launches into a charming sort of cloven hoof. What part are you laughing at there?
All of it.
All of it? Okay.
Yes, I love this name. It's like a superhero. The Old Zircon.
Yeah, Old Zircon launches into a charming sort of cloven-hoofed tap dance routine, producing sparks which ignite the local moss. An enormous bonfire, totally out of proportion to the amount of fuel available. That's fucking Coldplay. You know, fuel, only a certain amount of fuel, but way bigger output. An enormous bonfire, totally out of proportion to the amount of fuel available, springs up around him. Uncle Willie and the dummy stand nearby unnoticed as Old Zircon has his fire spring up around him. Uncle Willie says, Old Zircon danced his special dance until sparks ignited all adjacent moss. And it says, one by one, dangerous-looking unknown animals make their way to Zircon's fire. With a snap of his fingers, he produces an assortment of primitive musical instruments. Now he manifests, like Ion says, just by snapping his fingers. With a snap of his fingers, he produces an assortment of primitive musical instruments and proceeds to do his version of a Las Vegas lounge act for them. So he's now going to sing for Uncle Willie. Uncle Willie says, all fierce and murderous beasts assembled to a large red fire just outside the cave. Old Zircon beat his special drum, blew his special horn, and strummed his special guitar. Then he sang in a deep voice until the smoke turned to stone, forming several lumpy new mountains, one of which could talk, and that would be Billy the Mountain, back in 1971. So I think I have to go to page 55.
Yes, for me, it's like he's describing one of his parallel world experiences because he did not drank or took drugs.
Yes.
Right.
But it's like he went to different parallel worlds and he just he rocks his diamonds and zirconias and
right. He sings that on All for the Money. He says, discorporate, come with me, drifting. He talks about like astral projection to other worlds. Says that. That's one of the songs on the album that satirized the Beatles cover. Okay, so I must now, that's 1984, and we were dealing with the beginning of the universe. Now we go back to what he wrote 20 years before. Go back to Captain Beefheart and find the relevant part. So how's that for conceptual continuity and the same old theme of there's no time or all time's happening, and yes, he's bringing in the parallel world travel or travels to other worlds. That's pretty good, Roxy. Discorporate. All right.
He had quite of imagination to come up with all that. Like Roxana said, he didn't take drugs or drink, but that's pretty comprehensive creativity to come up with all those that whole angle. Wow.
But here's the thing.
That reminds me of my own dreams. That's why I say it's like a parallel world thing.
The dream you had lately?
Well, I have all these type of dreams with weird situations. Like once I told you I had a dream like. I had some birds above my head, and I was trying to make them go away all the time, and they were all the dreams like that. These situations that are like absurd. It's this type of animated objects, and
all right.
I think he's just describing parallel travels.
Right now, or time, different times side by side each other. So here's what I get, Bert. He has one vision. He designs his Cucamonga studio as a rocket ship. And you see the rocket ship is very important in the 1964 play. To me, it's like he had one scene, one idea, and he just kept adapting it, but repeating it. Because look at this.
Okay, yeah.
In 1972, when he does Hunch and Toot, this is 12 years before Them or Us, it starts off, as the performance begins, the only thing lit and visible on the stage should be the orchestra, who are garbed in spacesuits. Now, the play, 8 years before, is dealing with spacesuits. So he's repeating the 1964 thing, or aspects of it. So the orchestra begins the overture, and as they play, the narrator, with dumpy scientist clothes, including white smock and protruding slide rule. So he's always got the dumpy scientist, which is maybe like the way he saw his father. The narrator creeps steadily, and the narrator's this scientist. Or he has dumpy scientist clothes. So it's not necessarily the narrator is a scientist, but he looks like one. Creeps stealthily toward the scaffold, climbs it, mops his brow, waits for the music to subside, and finally announces, "There has been a certain amount of scientific speculation recently regarding the possibility that civilization as we know it is perhaps not the first pinnacle of evolutionary achievement to be witnessed on the face of our wretched little planet. In layman's terms, then, perhaps it has all happened before. Perhaps it has happened several times before." That's ionic.
6 times.
6 times. Perhaps it's Bob again. No, he doesn't say that yet. He goes, "Perhaps it has happened several times before," then in brackets, "not exactly the same as now, of course." That's something like Ian would say. "But it most certainly could have happened. And if by some chance it didn't happen already, mathematical science has proven that the odds are at least 50-50 that something is bound to happen sooner or later." Did you get that? "Therefore, it should be evident to even the dullest among you that there's a distinct possibility some form of highly evolved, technologically sophisticated, unknown civilization has already grown, flourished, and finally strangled on its own waste products right beneath your very feet out there in the audience." Which reminds me of a little story. Now, again, this is a film, a musical, a Broadway musical. The narrator's berating the audience. "Once upon a time, during some equivalent time cycle, in some equivalent..." Now, there's your parallel worlds. Exactly. You know what I mean, Roxy? You're very close on that. "Once upon a time, during some equivalent time cycle, in some equivalent civilization, there did occur on the equivalent Earth, and in the equivalent void surrounding it, a most peculiar situation wherein a mysterious and as yet unnamed sizable chunk of space debris, populated by a very tall, nasty lady known as Drachma, queen of cosmic greed, and her miserable, deformed lover, Hunch and Toot, a giant spider, this chunk of space debris served as a launching ground for a sinister and barely comprehensible plot to gain control of terrestrial affairs. The equivalent Earth, endangered by the above-mentioned intrigue, was a lush, watery green. So the other Earth, the equivalent Earth, endangered... which Earth is this? On the equivalent Earth... Okay, so this is an equivalent Earth. The equivalent Earth, endangered by the above-mentioned intrigue, was a lush, watery green elliptoid, dangling as per usual on the fringe of its little imaginary orbital merry-go-round apparatus, and if viewed from a distance of 300,000 miles... what would it do? Gave the illusion of being exactly the same planet we reside on today. That's a variation on the idea of time, looking like a solid object from the distance, right? You had a game. Right. The equivalent Earth, endangered by the above-mentioned intrigue, was a lush, watery green elliptoid, dangling, as per usual, on the fringe of its little imaginary orbital merry-go-round apparatus, and if viewed from a distance of 300,000 miles, gave the illusion of being exactly the same planet we reside on today. However, upon closer inspection, the more astute... Now, when he's talking about Drachma, he's talking about someone who's going to program the Earth with some new concentration camp scenario, right? So we're talking about a Drachma is a wannabe programmer. We're talking about the artist programming the whole environment. However, upon closer inspection, the more astute members of our audience could probably recognize instantly that the lushness was merely a byproduct of the rampant mold and fungi feeding over the piles of discarded appliances as they swooned under the sulphurous sky near bogs of watery green undifferentiated tissue, gurgling forth from the horrible black tubes of the genetic error tanks in each community's child-rearing center. That sounds like a bad interpretation of what Ion's going to say is coming. A world with no oxygen. You know what I mean? This is someone listened to Ion's projection of what it's going to be like in the future. They would come up with this horrible scene. And undifferentiated tissue, that's in the story around the legend of Cletus Auritus, the one about in Grand Wazoo, the jazz album. So it's got some, and this is the same year as that album came out. So, and thus from her grotesquely tufted sofa. So she has a sofa.
Another sofa.
She has a sofa. So she's a variation of Uncle Willie. And thus, from her grotesquely tufted, she's always putting the word tufts in there, from her grotesquely tufted sofa, over by Hunch and Toot's reeking cave. Remember Uncle Willie was in a cave, or who was in a cave? Oh, Zircon was in a cave. Over by Hunch and Toot's reeking cave, not far from a pink bullet-shaped object that might or might not be a hairdryer, the sinister Drachma surveys the pageant of terrestrial folly, mumbling amusedly to herself as the images fade from her special viewing screen. So she starts singing and manipulating the dials of her fraudulent video controller. Time is money, but space is a long, long time. I think this is the continuing of the song. Perhaps you are surprised to see I speak your language, but I have been monitoring your earthly broadcast for many, many years, and the reception of my little planet is extremely fine. Time is money, but space is a long, long time. On my lonely throne in the cosmic night, I ponder the vast expanses between your puny world and mine. From my couch in the sky, as my planet goes by, I behold all your misery below there. I have seen all your lying and crying and dying, and believe me, your planet is nowhere. Space is a very long time, and if the equation set forth above is proved when we get to the bottom line, the powers financial I shall hold over your world will complete my fantastic design, and the whole equivalent earth shall be mine, mine, mine. And she grabs a space scissor, and strums horrible chords on it between each of the closing lines. Then there's a hideous giant spider roar. Hunch and Toot lumbers out of his cave in response to the mystery strum. Ah, there's the music programming people. Hunch and Toot lumbers out of his cave in response to the mystery strum of Drachma's space scissor. He shuffles over to his mistress as she rises from the sofa, whereupon she calls him and says, piddling with Hunch and Toot's extra spring-loaded leglets. Oh, I guess he's got a bunch of legs as a spider, and they're spring-loaded. She's piddling with Hunch and Toot's extra spring-loaded. Now, that's imaginative, right, Bert? You know, talking about tweaking the spider. Piddling with Hunch and Toot's extra spring-loaded leglets as she speaks. She says, let's face it, Hunch and Toot, life on that planet is no picnic. Now, I might be sinister, and I might be greedy, and I might be too tall to get dates. I might be sinister, and I might be greedy, and I might be too tall to get dates, but I have something to offer to the helpless wretches of equivalent Earth. Because, you see, Hunch and Toot, I am not merely Drachma, queen of cosmic greed. No, no, no. I am a woman, a very passionate woman, Hunch and Toot. You know how hot I am, don't you? The people of that silly planet need me. Their planet is a mess because of earthly greed. And as I'm sure you know, earthly greed is incompetent greed. Earthly greed is amateur greed. Earthly greed is a mere dog poot compared to cosmic greed. That stupid little world down there thrives on nothing but greed. It is nourished by greed. Why, without greed to sustain it, the earth wouldn't be worth a hunch or a toot. Therefore, my miserable Hunch and Toot, it must follow logically that even now, at this very moment, in equivalent time, which is money, and space, which is a very long time, as we swirl through the eternal darkness on a funny little rock with some cheap furniture, invisible to the naked earthling eye, it's obscured by the dense, putrid vapors of their polluted atmosphere and deadly video radiations. Verily, I say unto you, Hunch and Toot, is there any way, if my fantastic program or contest of conquest succeeds, and of course it will, is there any way I could make things any worse than they already are? Strobe lights flash for an instant. Stage left dims, and the narrator's lights go on. Spotlight on Hunchentooth. So the narrator says, and the miserable Hunchentooth thought for a brief moment. Finally emitting a sad little toot on his fetid harmonica, accompanied by a pathetic little hunch, all of which tended to indicate to the power-mad space girl, that's Drachma, that her helpless love slave was in complete agreement with the theory she had just propounded. Drachma says, lunging lewdly toward the giant spider, ah yes, my erotically wriggling Spider of Destiny. Spider of Destiny is a song, one of his later 70s albums. My erotically wriggling Spider of Destiny, take me to your reeking cranny and caress me violently with your horrible scratchy feelers. And while we consummate our perverse rendezvous, I'll explain to you. I shall explain to you the fantastic details. What?
That's tactile.
Tactile, ultimate tactility, multiple massage. While we consummate our perverse rendezvous, I shall explain to you the fantastic details of the work I must do. And the narrator says, and the lustful Drachma leads poor old Hunchentooth into the adjacent reeking cranny, simultaneously seducing him and delivering a lecture on quantum economics.
Yeah.
Quantum economics. So Drachma gestured.
I don't know who says there are these eternals and parallel world people that are actually going from one place to the other, and who knows who they really are.
Hey, and
maybe
it says
they're not all humans; they're this type of creatures.
Yeah, and so she gives gesturing erotically in silhouette. She goes, throttle me, you disgusting beast. Ah, you're so masterful. Oh, Hunchentooth. There's never been a love such as ours. Don't let me distract you. But do you realize how far we are right now from the earth itself? And do you realize the import of the fact that the distance between them and us is nothing but space? And who is to say, Hunchentooth, that space could not belong to someone? That space could not belong to someone. And then it says on the left, it says, slides are projected that show alternately mathematical, philosophical examples of Drachma's premise and cheap zodiac, cosmic, Kama Sutra, theoretical copulatory positions involving a 7.5-foot space girl and a giant spider. Zodiac, cosmic, Kama Sutra, theoretical copulatory positions. Right? That's on the slideshow. So she says, Hunchentooth, my valiant insect, I, Drachma, queen of cosmic greed, do hereby, with you as my legal witness, claim that space and all other space as my own personal treasure. Because if time is money, as the earthlings believe, and if space is a long, long time, as should be evident to any fool, my space, in terms of time, when converted from light years to cold cash, will even make me the richest hot space girl in all the universe. Ah, drag your raspy little mandibles across my creamy thigh once more. She turns off the cave interior light. And the lights go up for narrator and music segues. So now Zappa, in that interview, is describing how time cancels out time. This is like a satire on Frank himself in interviews saying these kind of ideas. He knows he's a spider or a 7-foot-tall hot girl. Narrator. That's a good way to describe quadrophenia in your chip body and TV body. You've got to have these other alterations of form. The narrator says, meanwhile, on equivalent Earth. Now, isn't that great having equivalent Earth as a repeated motif? Because most people don't think of that. And then it just gets rubbed into their heads, right? An equivalent Earth. Unaware of the impending financial crisis, the unequivalent Earth is unaware of the impending financial crisis, the obvious hero of our story, a lad named Dirk, sits in deep alpha meditation with a group of high-level genetic mutants who've just formed a fantastic new and upcoming religious cult called the Forcelings. Remember? Love is a force field, not an emotion. So this is the INX. Genetic mutants caused by the RNA drops, though. This is Frank intuiting Iundu. High-level genetic mutants who have just formed a fantastic new and upcoming religious cult called the Forcelings. Chanting in fraudulent mod religious ecstasy. Remember what we said, the great ecstasy that's coming. That's an example of fraudulent ecstasy as a disease. Chanting in fraudulent, mod religious ecstasy. The human mind is the ultimate power. Forcelings miming to offstage chorus. The ultimate power, Dirk says. And that power is ours to use as we choose. Forcelings, as we choose. Dirk says the human mind contains wonder and thunder and blunder. The forcelings go, and blunder. I'm going to have to take a drink in a minute. Dirk says, and because we are so highly evolved, the very universe itself must tremble before us and yield unto us all secrets. The forcelings go, all secrets. Dirk goes, all power. Forcelings repeat, all power. Dirk says, all truth. Forcelings say, all truth. What?
They're echoes. The forcelings.
Echoes, yes. Yeah, echoing.
Like
Dirk says, but mostly, so they go, all truth, and then he goes, but mostly the secrets and the power, because who needs the truth when you got the good stuff? Forcelings. And that is the truth. And it says, Dirk and the other forcelings lift their listen to this. Dirk and the other forcelings lift their elasticized ping-pong ball meditation eye gear up over their brows, revealing horrible blackened eye sockets as they all jump up and pretend to sing, but the chorus behind the wall is really performing. Read that again. Dirk and the other forcelings lift their elasticized ping-pong ball meditation eye gear up over their brows, revealing horrible blackened eye sockets as they all jump up and pretend to sing what the chorus behind the wall is really performing. Dirk actually sings, the others mime and dance, so he sings, we are the forcelings. Our new religion is astounding. We are the forcelings. Our new religion is astounding. The glory of our shining minds and groovy vibes is now surrounding each and every one of you. We know you'll join us too, and you'll go far, because each and every one of you turkeys out there in every chair think you're just about as cosmic as we are. Now that's manipulating satire when you start making fun of the audience. You step out of the story and start attacking the audience. Each and every one of you, we know you'll join us too, and you'll go far, because each and every one of you turkeys out there in every chair thinks you're just about as cosmic as we are. Then the narrator says, and with subtle pomposity and pretension, the leader of the secret cosmic meditation society prepares to deliver a thrilling address. So, Dirk, speaking into his amulet, he's addressing his amulet. Guys and gals, as you must have known, before attending our services tonight, something big is about to happen. The forcelings, as one voice, go, far out! Dirk, raising a hand to calm them. Yes, I can certainly dig it. And I'm sure you can too. I don't think I have to emphasize how difficult, how exhausting, or how expensive it is to promote and get customers for a fantastic new upcoming religious foundation such as ours, when there's just so much competition these days. The forcelings nodding in agreement go, shoo, shoo. P-S-H-E-W, shoo. Dirk, gesturing boldly, but have no fear whatsoever. We can do it. We can get customers and their valuable dollars quickly and easily with my fantastic new plan. The forcelings go, as one voice, far out. Dirk, swiveling dramatically. Just see what was, just checking something. All right. Dirk, swiveling dramatically. That's right. I have a promotional idea that will prove once and for all how heavy we are, and simultaneously show conclusive evidence to every infidel and unbeliever not only where we're at, but also where we're coming from. Forcing number one blankly says, but Dirk, how could this be? Dirk says, I have meditated longly and deeply, and in doing so, I have penetrated to the very core of this marginally imponderable dilemma, and I have found the answer. And the answer is, quote, the difference between where you're at and where you're coming from is where you went.
Oh.
It sounds like something I would say. See, Frank was always predicting us. The answer is, quote, the difference between where you're at and where you're coming from. What is that difference? It's where you went. Past tense. That's isness and wasness and areness. Forcing number two blankly. Does this mean Dirk, excitedly interrupting. Yes, we must went. But we must not only went, we must went someplace. Nobody's ever went before. Forcelings, as one voice go, far out. Dirk, finger raised emphatically. Precisely. That way, when we get back from when we went, everybody will know where we're at. Forcing number one, astounded by his own brilliance. Right back where we went from. Remember Frank said in that quote last week, you ain't going nowhere. You know, time, wave, they cancel each other out. You're never going anywhere, and it's already happened. Dirk, beaming proudly and shaking hands in a very hip manner with forcing number one, shakes his hands. You got it. But the best part is when everybody finds out where we're coming from. He's taking normal phrases that people are all using in the early 70s. Where it's at, where we're coming from, right? He's just taking these simple phrases and making a whole metaphysic out of it. Forcing number two eagerly. Wow, what happens then, Dirk? Dirk proudly clasping his arm around the shoulder of forceling number two. I'm glad you asked. At that point, everybody will want to join the forcelings. Hey, 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 hey. And then, of course, we'll all be rich and respectable, just like any other branch of the ... big orchestral blast. Then he says, leisure time industry. Just like any other branch, respectable branch of the leisure time industry, providing religions, mini-religions. Okay, so then, forcing number one, overwhelmed, goes, gee, Dirk, that's neat. Forcelings as one voice, wow, Dirk, right on. Forceling number two, eagerly again. Yeah, Dirk, what a groove. Where are we going to went? Dirk, fantastically casual. Very casually says, guys and gals, I don't want this should come as a shock, but we're all going into outer space. Forcelings as one voice, we are? Forcing number one, mystified. But hold it, Dirk. We don't have any spaceships. Now, this is a dilemma 8 years earlier in the Captain Beefheart, where this guy is claiming he's got a spaceship and nobody believes him. Dirk, sincerely, well, you want everybody to be impressed when you get back, right? Well, for me, that's not enough. I want that people should be impressed coming and going. Remember, and don't you ever forget it, the human mind is the ultimate power. Now, you remember, Ein doesn't say that. Ein says the voice is the ultimate power, not the mind. So Frank is correct to satirize the cult. The cult's got the wrong percepts or concepts. Forcelings, robotically replacing the ping-pong balls over their eyes and answering in a unified monotone, the ultimate power. Dirk, hypnotically lowering his voice and ping-pong balls at the same time. Lowering his voice and ping-pong balls at the same time. Because all of our fantastic minds linked together can achieve any goal, overcome any obstacle, and if we so desire, even go so far as to provide first-class transportation into outer space and still have enough energy left over to provide a breathable atmosphere and, as a goodwill bonus, our very own gravity. Remember, we're so highly evolved, there's nothing that can ever stop us. And then the orchestra begins to vamp. And as the volume of the vamp intro increases, the stage right lighting becomes more brilliant. The forcelings, including Dirk, slowly and majestically remove their ping-pong balls once again, raise their hands skyward in some mysterious cosmic salute, and go into an obvious song and dance routine. Dirk, singing and swaggering with cosmic abandon. If something gets in your way, just think it over. If something gets in your way, just think it over. Forcelings, miming while chorus sings. If something gets in your way, just think it over. If something gets in your way, just think it over. Dirk, crooning, says, and it will fall down. It will fall down. It will fall. Just wait and see. Soon it'll fall down. It'll fall down. It'll fall. Take it from me. Everything that gets in your way ain't real. Everything that gets in your way ain't real. Everything that gets in your way ain't real. It ain't real. It ain't real. It ain't real. So what's the deal? Forcelings, miming, over, over. It'll fall over, over. It'll fall over. At this point, the forcelings discontinue their miming and, led by Dirk, execute a dance routine which, by the very nature of its mod graphic construction, pathetically overt symbolism, will indicate to the audience that the whole bunch of them intend to swim through outer space until they bump into a mysterious unknown planet. This short, thrilling dance concludes with the group making a stage right exit. The lights come up on the orchestra, which frolics briefly and dwindles off. The lights come up on stage left, revealing the enormous space girl, satisfied by the giant spider, emerging from under a hairdryer, adjusting her rollers. She repairs to the couch and preens while the despondent Hunchentooth paces before the entrance to his reeking residence singing. So Hunchentooth, distraught, singing, goes, oh me, oh my, the lonely spider wanna die. Oh me, oh my, this spider weep and cry. Oh me, oh my, I wasted 40 pair of shoes just to shuffling back and forth with them Hunchentooth blues. No shit, I got 'em. Meaning the blues, I guess. Oh, where do you go and what do you do when the shit starts flying and land on you? Oh me, oh my, I wasted 40 pair of shoes just to walk on that floor with the Hunchentooth blues. You know, he's part of his dingly-dangly. He's got shoes on them. That's like a 1930s cartoon, right? Remember those old black and white cartoons? Spiders would have funny shoes on. There ain't no more terrible weeping than this lonely spider do. Listen. No. There ain't no more terrible weeping than this lonely spider do. Listen at me, peoples. Listen at me, peoples. This the truth. T-R-U-F-E, I'm telling you. This the truth, I'm telling you. Got no regular spider lady, just to ease my spider mind. Been peeping all over my plastic rock till my spider eyes gone blind. Won't somebody tell me just what am I going to do? Because I'm a bad mother spider with the Hunchentooth blues. Yes, I am, peoples. I'm a bad mother spider with the Hunchentooth blues. Drachma comes in, pausing from a preen. You always seem to get so depressed after our little parties. What is it, honey? Don't you love me anymore? Hunchentooth. Honey is H-U-N-N-Y, Hunchentooth. Hunchentooth angrily. Don't you be calling me no funny-ass name, bitch. Onlyest reason I've been giving you all the pleasure of my company is you the only pussy I got up here. Drachma bewildered and misty-eyed. You mean it's merely physical with you and me? Hunchentooth slyly. Well, Drachma wrists the forehead. Why can't you respect me for my mind? Hunchentooth goes, turning away, Drachma, suddenly angered. You despicable, detestable musician. She calls him a musician. You despicable, detestable musician. I've given you the best years of my life, prepared delicious meals for you, paid the rent on your stupid little cave, and furthered your education with a 527 cubic inch television set. You know how I say television is educational. Furthered your education with a 527 cubic inch television set. Hunchentooth, rubbing his chin in a sage gesture. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, bitch. You is deficient. Drachma enraged. What? Me? Deficient? Ha! Listen, buddy. I am a very passionate woman. You just can't appreciate the real meaning of true passion because you are merely a bug. Hunchentooth mocking. Shit, look here. You can be passionate, you can be ashing it, you can be mashing it, splashing it, and gashing it, but there's one thing you ain't never going to be. Drachma haughtily. And what, pray, is that? Hunchentooth smugly. Let you go and grow you some legs, and I mean one big giant motherfucking stack of them scratching, kicking 360-degree spider-pleasing wraparound gigantic motherfucking legs. There ain't going to be no way you're likely to become no giant spider-pleasing woman. And the lonely, desperate insect dances grotesquely around the broken-hearted space girl, taunting her with his loathsome harmonica and naughty song. Singing and dancing. Take a regular spider lady for the maximum potential from the spider mean. Must take a stack of spider leg to make the spider fucker beg and raise the spider sand. Since you ain't got no spider eyes, this here might give you some surprise to hear my spider fucking song. The only thing that caused me wonder about the rock I living under, how you doing me wrong so long. Imagine that on Broadway? Hunchentooth continues to... we'd rather have Fiddler on the Roof. Hunchentooth continues to cavort lasciviously, making horrible little noises on his harmonica. Suddenly, Drachma's eyes widen in disbelief. There, in the midst of Hunchentooth's autoerotic frenzy, she beholds the Forcelings and Dirk as they stumble out from behind the cave, yawning, stretching, and readjusting their ping-pong balls to indicate recovery from their fantastic journey. Hunchentooth's song and dance dwindles off as Dirk steps forward and says, Dirk, all smiles, well, guys and gals, we made it. This is it, outer space. Can you dig it? A fantastic, unknown, unexplored planet inhabited by this giant, ugly spider. Hunchentooth, pissed off. Say what? Dirk, slightly intimidated, who seems to be very talented and dances really fantastic. Say, brother, what's happening? Play a little trumpet myself. And of course, over here we have Drachma, ominously. Silent earthling, who are you? Why have you dared to come to my planet? Upon whose authority do you trespass in voyaging through my space? Dirk, with a shit-eating grin. Well, see, it's like this. The human mind is the ultimate power. Forcelings, there's one voice. The ultimate power. Dirk, cheerfully. And, of course, we bring greetings from the kind, generous, friendly people of Earth, you know. The third little dot over by the big dot, which my people call the sun. And basically this here is a promo tour for a fantastic new and upcoming religious foundation that's pretty soon going to be the drachma cutting him off. Bah! Your wretched promo tour means nothing to me. Prepare to meet your doom, invaders. Kill Hunchitude. Kill the earthlings. Hunchitude fobbing her off. Lighten up, bitch. Shit. Now look here. Hey, Earth dude, come here, boy. Dirk, grinning hippily. You know how to grin hippily? Sure thing. What do you need, my man? Give me 5 or whatever. Hey, saying give me 5 to a spider. Give me 5 or whatever. Hey, Hunchitude, confidentially. Look here, boy. I really am supposed to scarf you folks up. Dirk, shit-eating grin again. Really? Wow, that's beautiful. Really beautiful. Hunchitude, continuing. That's the calling of me enormous species. Dig it? That's my cosmic biofunction, you see? Just reckon them helpless victims. And you're going to be one of them unless you and me can get something together. Dirk, pretending to be very concerned for the insect's welfare. Just listen to me. Never let it be said that our fantastic new and upcoming ecologically concerned, definitely against any form of insecticide religious organization, ever missed a single chance to help a troubled soul or make a new convert. How much bread you making up here? Hunchitude, ominously. Look here. You just don't seem to understand. UNNUHSTAIN. Understand. Understand. You just don't seem to understand, boy. You're looking at a mean, nasty, cruel, bloodthirsty, giant motherfucking spider. And I'm going to snuff all you people out unless we get something going here. Right now. Drachma, raging in the distance. Eat them. Eat those earthlings, Hunchitude. It's your natural cosmic biofunction. And if you ignore your cosmic biological urgings, you might cause a horrible imbalance in the cyclical structure of the cosmic ecosystem. Hunchitude, slightly exasperated. Why don't you just shut the fuck up? I know what I'm doing. Dirk, smiling and fidgeting. You going to pretend to eat us and then spit us out in back of the cave or what? Hunchitude, very confidentially. Look here, brother. I may not have to be eating you people after all. Dirk, enthused. Really? That's beautiful. Far out of sight. Hunchitude, continuing. That's right, brother. Give me 5 or whatever, brother. You got it? I was just wondering if you all be able to help a brother out. Dirk, suddenly realizing what is really going on. Oh, I can dig it. Hunchitude, pleased to see that Dirk is getting it. That's it, brother. You know where I was coming from. Dirk, impressed with himself because he can dig it. Right. You want to get laid. Hunchitude, philosophically. Shit, y'all pretty sharp for an Earth boy. The lights come up as the fourthlings who retreat into ping-pong meditation mode when there's nothing else for them to do. When the lights come up, the fourthlings dance over to Dirk and Hunchitude as the giant spider bursts into song once more. Hunchitude singing, dancing. There ain't nothing to it. Let some spider mama do it, and I could use a pair of spider jaws today. So if you human brain so hot, just go and show me what you got and get my spider mama whipping right away. Because if you don't, I got to tell you, it's my spider gig to kill you, and ain't going to make no never mind to me, boy. So get my spider pussy flying, or all you folks is going to be dying. Gwyn, Gwine. Or all you folks is going to be dying, and that's no spider shit I'm spreading, because I can destroy. Now this sort of weird black patois, Gwyn, that language is used in Thingfish 12 years later, that kind of slangy writing. Hunchitude squeals away on his fetid little harmonica, dancing a special dance, demonstrating to the fourthlings various possible methods of giant spider-inflicted grievous personal injury, causing them to dash around the planet in a state of frenzied terror. At the point where Hunchitude feels he has given them a proper scare, he and the orchestra pauses to announce, Hunchitude, matter-of-factly, I'd go back to my apartment and whip it till you religious folks come up with something hot and hairy I can identify with. And the narrator says, and so, having stated his case to the invaders from Earth, the pathetic, misunderstood giant spider trundles back into his cave, and naught was heard but his busy little multiple appendages whipping it, masturbating, I guess, while on her lonely sofa, Drachma, Queen of cosmic green pines away for the love of her insect. Drachma singing and pining away. He used to be very kind in his own crude way, and he wasn't always like I wanted him to be. He wasn't smart, he wasn't handsome, but he thrilled me when he drilled me, and I have never loved a monster quite like he, because his love was so flambé. There's a song at later albums called Flambé. His kisses burned me so, his kisses turned me from a queen on a throne to a shriveling stool. Here I stand all alone, a spider's fool, when it's me he needs to fondle his tool. I guess some bugs are just that way. He don't really need your love, he don't really need you to be there when his hair gets matted and gray. I'll do that again. He don't really need your love, he don't really need you to be there when his hair gets matted and gray, with a broom cleaning his room from the mess he made that day. Out of earthling arms he nibbled away. Oh, hunch and toot, my love, how could you desert me now? Oh, hunch and toot, you brute, can't you see I want you? Stay with me flagrantly, and we'll have ecstasy for all eternity, because your love is so flambé. Your kisses burn me so, your kisses turn me from a queen on a throne to a shriveling stool. I don't mind if you're unkind, 'cause spiders rule. You're all real cool with those little webs you spool, and all your spider drool. Let me float in your pool. Oh, hunch and toot, hunch and toot, hunch and toot. Then hunch and toot says, disgruntled, what do you want, bitch? Drachma, pretending to be cold and objective. Listen carefully, spider of destiny. If you persist in your refusal to destroy the invaders, my plans for the conquest of the earth itself may become endangered. Super dramatic orchestral blast and build up a super dramatic, so the spotlight swivels back to Drachma, gradually turning from blue to flaming red. She says her plan to conquer Earth will become endangered if he doesn't fuck her. Super dramatic orchestral blast and build up concludes part one, and stage goes dark. Well, hey, that's pretty good. I never read it before. Yeah, they're taking a bow.
Yeah.
So, there's other stuff we can read other times. I must go to the other scripts to get to this thing I found that I got to read to you, which is pretty amazing. So that's
these are real fun.
Yeah, these are pretty neat. What do you think, Bert? You getting off on this?
Yeah. I'm amazed at how creative he was to come up with just the whole dialogue between the characters and to come up with the characters. It's amazing.
Yeah, and to write
this was actually a screenplay. Yes, screenplay, theater play, everything. And he writes in this, Oakland, what are they, Obionics? What was that black stuff called? Ebonics.
He's kind of like doing early Ebonics or something. And
yeah.
It's all a satire, but it's also as absurd as any religious or cult system that gets people doing absurd things. It's like,
yeah,
it makes no sense, but look at the world.
It's like it's a cheap high school sketch. He's trying to get done on Broadway. Now, in Thingfish, when Thingfish is presented, they go to a play within the whole opera, and the yuppie couple is outraged at how crappy the play is. So Zappa, 12 years later, is satirizing. If he actually did put Hush and Toot on, what people would be pissed off at, he makes it the content of Thingfish 12 years later.
No, but I think he would have made such a great score that.
Yes, the music would have been fucking amazing.
Because that happens in many of his songs. The lyrics are really funny, absurd, weird. That the music is so amazing.
Yeah, the music will be awesome, and I think these later albums, Sleep Dirt and Orchestral Favorites, and might have been another one. They have these titles, so I could play something of I assume would be the music for Flambé.
Yes, and he uses this word cosmic for all these type of mystery landscape things, New Age, and he has this cosmic.
He probably heard me talking about cosmic awareness. He's fucking satirizing what he thought I was doing, probably. He's making fun of me.
it's this new agey weird stuff.
You know, one time I was talking to Croker.
Make some type of business out of it.
I inspire so much great art. I was talking to Croker one time. He knew that I talked to McLuhan through the Evergreens and something. And I talked to him one time,